I worked closely with Rob Manfred when he was practicing law privately at a law firm.
When you said you're several months into this journey at Elevate Talent, what made you individually, right, as an individual, want to move over to Elevate? What was the thing for you that was like, wow, this is the time to move over to the world of sports?
It it's it's sort of what we've talked about already. I mean, I always had a lifelong interest in sports. So my career has always been at the intersection of sports, law initially for the work you alluded to at the beginning, for Major League Baseball, the NHL, Major League Soccer over my legal career had worked across those leagues. And happy to jump into that. But when I started in the search business, I started my own search firm uh, in the sports entertainment space to capitalize on those relationships I had already. It was early on, I would say. There were only a few competing firms in the sports space at the time. But because it was early, there was also limited opportunities. Executive search wasn't quite as prominent as it was, as it is now at that time. And so, much like you and your, early in your investing career, not all of your, um, you kind of go where the opportunities are, where the deals are. Not all of them were in sports, I know. And so, same thing for me. I ended up doing more and more work in private equity backed businesses of all types. And that's sort of where I took my career on the search side of things. Um, and I would say probably almost about a year ago, I reconnected with my partner Liz Moulton, who was first at Korn Ferry leading their sports group, then at Spencer Stewart, where she led that sports practice on the search side. Came to Elevate, founded our search business here, and is the chair of our business globally. And I've had a ton of respect for her and known her over 10 plus years. So it was a combination of Liz and what she was building, coupled with just the changes happening in sports with the influx of private equity investment. It kind of was a perfect marriage of what I had been focusing on, for a lot of my executive search career. Uh, just great time to jump back into the sports focused search business and capitalize on that trend, but also a lot of sort of white space ahead and opportunity to kind of build, as we believe we're doing here, the best search business in the sports entertainment space.
So, in building that, and again, you talked about all these years of working in sports as a lawyer, doing what you're doing on the search side. You've done on the search side of things in sports, around sports. Um, how important has networking and developing relationships been to your overall career?
Extremely important. I mean, it's hard to quantify exactly the importance of it, but just to give you an example, so when I was a young lawyer at Morgan Lewis and Bacchus, good Philadelphia law firm that I know is close to your heart, Wayne. Uh, I worked closely with Rob Manfred, the current commissioner of Major League Baseball, when he was a private practice, practicing law privately at a law firm. So that relationship that I started, fresh out of law school, I maintained when Rob left our law firm, joined Major League Baseball. First, we had a client relationship. Was work that we did together, me as an outside lawyer for the commissioner's office. But when I pivoted and went into the sports executive search side of things, I picked up the phone and called Rob and asked for some time together with him just to sort of understand how, he and baseball viewed executive search and what the market was like in terms of competitors, um, you know, the what was missing in terms of the service offerings out there, and did that with a number of sports industry relationships that I've developed over the years, so that I could really just understand what the opportunity was. Number one, um, and the ability to build a successful business there, and then as you are doing that, clearly there's no substitute, for getting engagements, client opportunities. Oftentimes, it's not with somebody that you have the relationship with, but you get referred by that person to someone else with a need. And that doesn't happen unless you've built really strong relationships with those people through networking and just again devoting the time.
You know, sometimes you hear about a position that's open, and then all of a sudden the new person's hired. Um,
Right.
I'm guessing it doesn't move that fast, and there's a lot of pre-work, like you were saying before with Stanford. You use a lot of work, but what is sort of the typical timing of a search that you do?
Yeah. So, I mean, what's typical, right? It's like it can be all over the map. I mean, you talk to
Sure.
my partner Kyle Bowlesby, who leads our college practice. Those searches happen like that. I mean, when a university needs a new coach, they need a new coach now, and so those searches happen very quickly. Um, the
How do they
again,
do that? Like, how do they do that so fast?
so so without giving away all the secret sauce here, Wayne, I'll tell you. I mean, a lot of it comes down to the kind of networking relationships, relationship building that you alluded to earlier. You know, Kyle in particular just immerses himself in the candidate pool out there, so he knows by virtue of talking to these folks day in and day out, who's looking for what next job, who's not looking, which also, enables you to move more quickly because you're not spending time sort of figuring out who the potential candidates are. You're zeroing in on those that well, and they and have built a rapport and trust with, so that when you come to them and say, hey, coach so and so, this is the opportunity you and I talked about 6 months ago, at that, Final Four when we bumped into each other. And, that enables you to move quickly. The institutions themselves are able to move quickly because they have, ideas in mind of what they would like. I mean, they know the landscape oftentimes of coaches out there that may be on the market, or they would love for them to be on the market. And so it's just kind of putting together those two sides of the equation, and then compelling the candidates out there to look at opportunities and consider them with an open mind. And it all really stems from that kind of credibility of knowing them, getting to know them